Hey, welcome back to day 25 of Project Me. Today is a bit of a kicker, and that's because I was originally planning to talk about how I might go about asking better questions, how to improve my question making arsenal. I got a lot of academic talks, a lot of private sector, public sector talks, and one thing I definitely struggle with is how to ask a good question because I feel like I can't even call myself a critical thinker if I can't think of a good question. And that's something that has in the past really hit me hard and dragged me down a very rocky, dark path. And so it's something I'd like to explore. But some things came up today that, because we're all about emotional intelligence on here, we're going to talk about them instead. So yeah, bit off topic from what I would have liked. One is a far happier topic, but in any case, we're going to get into it today. So first of all, let me explain the suit. I don't like wearing a suit. I have to for some of these events. Today was a little bit of a celebration in anticipation of Common Leaders Day, which is a Commonwealth holiday. Well, holiday's a bit of a stretch, but like an unofficial but celebrated day, I suppose. You just don't get the day off for it, to my understanding at least. And so I went to the British High Commission and we had drinks and all that, got to meet people. Just a brief comment on networking. It's really hard to network at this age, and particularly as a university student, because normally in networking it's very, I could be off the mark, but I feel like it's very transactional. Oh, I meet you, you might be able to help me with this either now or in X amount of time. Or I see a benefit for knowing you because you could get me somewhere. I see it as something that's very self-serving, which goes against sort of what I try to be, but that's a problem for another time and for another discussion. But it's very hard to network with people because as a university student, it's very hard for them to intrinsically realize that you have something to offer. So you have to show them that you have something to offer. And of course, there's always people who are interested in what you have to say, but they are of course fewer than those that aren't. So that's my brief, I wouldn't even call that a complaint about networking, but that's my brief experience with networking today. But it's alright. There are some lovely people there, and as you go to more and more of these events, you start knowing more and more people, and it's easier to slide into conversations and so on. So that was good. On the other hand, moving on to the next thing I actually wanted to talk about, which is I came home and I went to campus to study. I was supposed to meet a friend there. She messaged me earlier on in the afternoon saying she was keen to come with me tonight and she'd get there earlier than me, and she asked me where I'd sit. I responded, of course. I said where I normally sit in the library at campus, and yeah. Needless to say, I was stood up. Yeah, I'm not. I do know. I was gonna say I don't know how I feel about it, but I do know how I feel about it. I'm irritated and annoyed, although they are pretty much the same thing. I feel irritated and I feel annoyed. Not the least because I Ubered from the High Commission to my house to get my bag to go to campus because I was already late for what would have been a study session. But of course she didn't show up, so not only did I waste money on the Uber, I wasted my time, which bothers me more, actually. I find myself so busy that any event that comes up and I find myself having an opportunity cost. An opportunity cost, for those that haven't done economics, is if I spend my time and money doing this, then the opportunity cost is what I could have otherwise spent money or time on. So, for example, leaving the High Commission to go to campus to study, the time I could have spent more time at the High Commission meeting people, as opposed to rushing back to go to campus to be on time with her. And same thing with money. I could be spending that $10 on something else. Sorry, I keep bashing my pen into my agenda book. So I'll stop that. But yeah, no, really, really dissatisfied with that aspect. I am quite annoyed, and I'm tossing up sending her a message or waiting to see her in person tomorrow. And of course, what do I say? Because I've been walked over enough times in my life that I don't want to have it happen again. So I'm going to put up the boundary now. Better safe than sorry. It's always hard to put up boundaries, but it's made harder this time by the fact that only a few days ago she gave me a letter and a half a banana loaf saying thank you for helping her out with something. So not only has she very recently been very nice to me, but now of course I'm telling her, hey, that wasn't cool, and I'm putting her in a very defensive position. So of course the way I have to approach it is trying not to put her into a defensive position and trying to lead with empathy, right? Maybe I wonder if the right approach is, when I see it, I go, hey, Christina, can we just brief chat for a second? Or however it comes about. I don't want to, structure it too much because it becomes a bit awkward if things go off track for me. I want to be loose and flexible to adapt with whatever. I can't believe I'm saying this in this context, but to adapt to whatever circumstances might arise. But, yeah, bring it up and say, hey, listen, I understand we didn't have anything really set in stone. That said, I felt that, I was led to believe that this would happen. And of course it didn't happen, so I was left wondering, I was left in limbo. And I also, I gave up time and I gave up money to be there on time for you. And it didn't work out. So listen, I don't care because it's in a low stakes scenario. It's okay, but don't make this a pattern, okay? I've been walked over enough times in my life to know that I don't want it to happen again. And then that'll be it, and I'll say, hey, listen, do you have anything else you want to say to me, or is there anything that I can maybe do better next time? I don't know what I could be improving on. I'm the communicative one, but we'll ask because you never know, right? It's better to ask for feedback and have nothing said than to not ask for feedback when everything needs to be said. But the last event I want to talk about is dinner. An odd topic, I know, but let me explain. For about 2 hours before I went to the British High Commission, I was making dinner. So I made a bit of a chipotle bowl. So, just chicken, some rice. Well, I didn't actually make the rice with heaps of leftover rice, so I didn't bother. I made some chicken, some guacamole, and a little corn salsa, which, if I do say so myself, is quite scrumptious. Made all that, got it ready, put it on the counter, messaged the group chat, hey, dinner's ready a bit early today. I just need to head out, that's why. And said enjoy dinner, and then I ran out. I come back, about 4 hours later. Everything's been cleaned up, the dish has been cleaned up. I checked the fridge. Nothing's been touched. To my sight, at least, it looks like nothing has been touched. Chicken looks the exact same as when I put it in the little bowl. Corn salsa, I don't know if that was touched because that was put into a separate bowl. So the other one could be cleaned. So I don't know if that was touched, but the guacamole definitely wasn't touched. And I haven't eaten much all evening, and I don't want to eat right before bed, so I don't know if you heard that, but that was my stomach. But yeah, really disappointing, actually, to see that nothing was touched. And same problem as the study session. Opportunity cost. I spent 2 hours making that meal, and for what? Right? I didn't make it for me. I haven't eaten. I made it for them, my flatmates. And they're lovely people. Having said that, please, guys, come on. I went to all that effort of making dinner for you. Do me the courtesy of, one, eating it, seeing as I made it for you. And, two, giving me a heads up that maybe I didn't have to make dinner, which is what really irks me, right? If I went through all that effort just for you to not eat dinner because of something else, tell me beforehand, please. Like, I don't want to keep wasting hours of my day every time. They love to say they're busy. I am also busy. And I think I'm busier than them. I didn't hear anything. Like, for example, on Friday or Saturday, I don't remember which day, it depends on time zones, I'm giving a speech at a conference. Don't they think that maybe my speech would benefit from an extra 2 hours of refining? Probably. I would certainly hope they would see some value in an extra 2 hours of refining. So it really bugs me that I went through all the effort to make dinner and nothing. You know, it's not like I need a thanks, but I need the acknowledgement that my effort wasn't in vain, which usually comes in the form of them actually eating the food I make. So, yeah, those 2 things tonight have really not killed the mood, but a little bit discouraging, you know? It's disheartening, to say the least, and actually brings me to another problem, which is moving out. Do I want to move out of this flat? And as for the yes side, yes, I want to move out, and that's because I can't. I love these guys individually, but it's very cliquey in a way. I'm the one guy in the flat. You know, 3 girls, 1 guy. Really hard sometimes. You know, they all stick to themselves. I feel like I'm on the outskirts. It's really hard to connect sometimes, but I love chatting to them individually. But as a collective, as a collective flat unit, it's not fulfilling. You know, I want home to be a place I actually want to leave my room for, but nah. So that's the yes for I want to move out. On the no, the location of this flat is bloody fantastic. I'm about a minute away from one of the main streets here, and about 10 minutes from one campus, 6-7 minutes from the other campus, and about 15 minutes from the law campus, which is where I spend most of my time now. So, fantastic location, right in the middle of the city. If I leave, I have to give that up, and I'm not sure I'm ready to give that up, but let's just appreciate for a second how, what's the right word for this? How sad it is that I'm weighing up how I feel emotionally as part of this flat and the location of this flat. Like, I'm weighing those 2 things up as whether I should leave the flat or not, and that's just ridiculous in my view. It shouldn't come to that. Those 2 things should never be on the table. Or maybe location. Location's always a plus, but I shouldn't have to balance that against how I feel emotionally. Yeah, so that's really troubling me, and it's something I'm going to be grappling with for another few weeks. I'm just not sure whether I tell them now, whether I'm thinking about moving out. Maybe that might be a bit of a wake-up call for them. I don't know. But the last thing I also want is for it to drive a wedge between us. So it's something to think about. Oh, I hate people relationships sometimes. So unnecessarily complex because, well, let's just say I've got high expectations, and unfortunately they're often not met. But I suspect that's the way with a lot of people, and it's hard. It's really hard sometimes to accept the faults of others. But hey, it's okay. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I'm willing to forgive as long as they show me that they're willing to take steps to mitigate the same event happening again. So I'll be kind, but I won't be nice. I'll be understanding and empathetic, but I won't let them walk over me. There we go. 3 things I'm grateful for today. 3 things I am grateful for today. 3 things. Bit hard seeing as we're on a negative turn, but I guess that's where the greatest light has to shine through. Grateful to the High Commission. Is that what I think it's a High Commission. The British High Commission. Yeah, it is. Sorry. Sometimes you have those phrases that you know they're right, but it just sounds wrong sometimes. Anyway, that's sometimes how I feel with words. As a law student, it's a terrible thing to have sometimes, but because you sound so unconfident when you say certain terms that are absolutely right, and it just detracts from your persuasiveness. But I digress. Thankful to the British High Commission for the invite to come tonight. Had a wonderful time. Really cool to meet such high-profile people. It's not often you get to do that, and it's nice living in New Zealand where it's the accessibility to said high-profile people is really, really good, and sometimes we take that for granted. But not today, because we're grateful. Second of all, I am grateful for my gloves. Oh my god, it was windy today. Far out. Windy, cold. Those gloves keep my little fingers warm. So, respect. Thank you for that. Thirdly, I am... You know what the hell, we're going to thank the devil. I'm grateful to my friend who still be up tonight. She is a very wonderful person, and she was so grateful when I helped her with her French assignments, for example. And of course she made me a letter on Monday, and she baked me a little half banana loaf. So very, very kind of her. But yes, at the same time. But I'm grateful to her nonetheless. That's it for today. Hopefully that fulfilled the emotional intelligence aspect of Project Me. I hope. But in any case, have a wonderful time wherever you are in the world. Have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful night, wonderful afternoon, wonderful morning. Cheers. Have a good one.